Delaware Senator Chris Coons now. He's out with an op-ed in the Philadelphia Inquirer about how the U.S. must come to terms with the financial cost of the war on ISIS. He writes in his op-ed, as we pursue our goal of degrading and destroying ISIS, we cannot write another blank check for war. We should not declare war today, only to declare bankruptcy tomorrow. Senator, thank you for joining us today about this very important topic. Who do you want to take the lead on the action on paying for this?
Well, Richard, as a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, I think our committee should be taking up and debating the authorization for the use of military force, or the AUMF, that President Obama sent up to us early this year, last February. And then the Senate Finance Committee should be coming up with a way to specifically pay for this conflict. As I said in my editorial, we shouldn't be declaring war today and declaring bankruptcy tomorrow. If we look back at the Iraq and Afghanistan war, the Office of Management and Budget initially projected that the Iraq war would cost about $60 billion. And all told, including all the military costs and the human costs for the VA for our veterans, there's an estimate out that it's $6 trillion for the wars of Iraq and Afghanistan, 100 times what was initially estimated. So I'm just challenging my colleagues, Richard, to have a responsible, balanced debate about strategy, about our constitutional role declaring war, but also to have a clear-eyed assessment of how much this war might cost. We've already spent $5.5 billion in the first year of this conflict, and I think we'll end up spending a lot more, and we should all be supporting our troops by contributing to the ongoing cost.
Senator, as a Democrat, are you saying you would like the Republican leadership to take this up because it has not been brought up as of yet? Is that who you're really asking for to move this forward?
Absolutely. We're hearing some fairly strong statements, even outrageous statements, from Republican presidential candidates who are competing to see who can sound tougher and act tougher on the campaign trail about the actions they'll take against ISIS in Syria and Iraq. But I'm trying to get my colleagues and the Republican leadership that controls the Congress to also take seriously the costs that will be involved. We shouldn't be charging into another ground war in the Middle East without looking seriously at the long-term financial and human costs of another major conflict.
Senator, what about the White House? What should the White House do to push this forward?
I think the White House has challenged Congress repeatedly to take up, debate, and pass this AUMF. That's capital speak for a declaration of war. We did that at our committee level at the end of the last Congress. We haven't returned to it in this Congress. I understand there is some hesitation, some concern by the leadership of our committee that we may not be able to get a bipartisan unanimous result. And there is concern that that would undermine our war effort. I frankly think we still ought to do our job. Just because there's a presidential election on doesn't mean that we are incapable of confronting our constitutional duty.
Senator, I want to very quickly, we have to go here. You're suggesting a surtax to solve this situation as one of the solutions. But as you know, just about every request for a tax is dead on arrival here.
Right. Well, that's how we funded all of our nation's wars, from the War of 1812 up to the Vietnam War. It's just the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan that we put on our national credit card, and we shifted that debt, that cost, to our children and grandchildren. I'm just trying to get the issue raised because I think it's serious and responsible, and we should be debating it in the United States Congress.
Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware, thank you for your time on the topic there of paying for the ISIS military actions that have been ongoing. Appreciate your time.